Hello, in this video we'll be looking at production possibilities in an economy. We'll be looking at what types of resources contribute to an overall economy's capacity. We'll look at how consumption goods and capital goods contribute to economic growth. We'll talk about the different inputs and factors of production, as well as the opportunity cost of producing some things over other things. First, let's look at the factors of production. These are the inputs, the materials, things that we need to be able to make something. The first is land. This is any sort of natural resource used in production. Some examples would be oil, wood, metals. It could be the discovery of new resources, new uses of resources, new ways to extract resources. So a natural resource could be something that we already access, already use. It could be some sort of new discovery, new process related to those resources. The second is labor. This is the human effort applied to production. While we do have a lot of things that machinery does and technology does, labor, human effort, is still a very important part of the process of production. Third, we have capital. This is the tools that we use in production. It could be any type of machinery. It could be the factories that we use to produce things. It could be a simple tool or a complex tool. For example, if you are a farmer and you've been digging holes with your hand to plant your seeds, now all of a sudden you have a shovel. That's a simple tool, but it is capital because it's going to make your production better. You're going to be able to dig more holes, dig faster. A complex tool for farming might be a tractor. Now you don't have to dig individual holes, you just drive the tractor around and it pokes all the holes in the ground for you. Capital could be business software, some sort of technology that is used in the production process as well. So land is the materials we use, labor, human effort. Capital is the tools used in production. We're not including any sort of financial capital or money. We will be talking about that later in the semester, but in terms of economics, generally when we say capital, it's some sort of physical machinery, tool, technology, software, but not money. And then the last category in factors of production is entrepreneurship. This is the person who needs to organize those other factors of production in a way to earn profit. So we can have oil, we can have metal, we can have people available, we can even have machinery, but if we don't have an entrepreneur, someone who's organizing those factors, hiring people, starting a business, coming up with an idea, we're not going to have much production. If you go to page 35 in your textbook, there's a try it example. So there'll be a few options and it'll ask you, is this land, is this labor, capital? And you can go through and test your knowledge at this point. Feel free to pause this, or you can make a note and come back to it after the end of the video. So production possibility frontier, or sometimes this is called a production possibility curve. Sometimes you'll see this noted as PPF, or PPC. And what this graph represents is the total possible options, the maximum amount we can produce in this particular society given our current factors of production. So this takes into account the natural resources that are available, the amount of labor we have available, the current level of technology, factories, and tools that are available. You'll notice that this graph does not include prices. It does not include the cost of inputs. It does not include sales prices in the markets. This is literally only limited to the factors of production and the maximum that can be produced with a given set of resources. Production possibility curves, production possibility frontiers, are always going to show two goods. It could be categories of goods, or like in this example, it's two different types of goods. So this economy can produce either industrial robots or pizzas. It has technology, the labor, the natural resources to produce both of these items. So this line, this blue line here, going from point A to point E, this is showing us the maximum we could produce, all the different combinations we can produce with this given set of resources. Any points that are on the line are considered efficient. We're using the maximum amount of resources. We're producing the most stuff we can make. So at point A, in this economy, we are producing 10 robots and 0 pizzas. This point is considered efficient because we're using all of our available resources. We don't have anything left to produce pizza. Now, it could be that we still have the dough available or the sauce or the cheese, but maybe all of our labor is working to produce industrial robots. Point E is also efficient. This is on the other axis, where we're producing 0 robots and 4 pizzas. Presumably, we still have metal, we have some sort of machinery, technology available to produce robots, but maybe all of our labor has shifted over to producing pizza. And then points B, C, D, and all the other points along this line are also efficient and where we're producing some other combination of goods and services. So here at point D, we would be producing 4 robots and 3 pizzas. We're doing a combination of both goods. So all points along this line are considered efficient. Inside the line, so between the axis and the blue line, this shaded yellow area here, these are all considered inefficient points, but attainable. So in this economy, we could produce 3 robots and 2 pizzas, but this is considered inefficient because we could produce more of both things. We could go out to point D, where we're producing 4 robots and 3 pizzas. So any points that are inside the line are considered inefficient because we have the availability of resources to produce more of one or both things. Any points that are outside of the line are currently unattainable. So point W out here, which is about 9 robots and 6 pizzas, this is unattainable. This economy does not have the level of resources to be able to produce that quantity of both items. In the future, it may be possible. So we're going to look in a minute at economic growth and how you can increase your capacity, increase your labor, increase productivity, and that can get us to points outside the line. We're also going to look at later in this chapter in another video, we'll be talking about comparative advantage, specialization, and trade. Another way we can actually get to an unattainable point is through trade. When we trade with other people who are specializing in tasks that are different than our own, we can actually get to points that are otherwise unattainable for ourselves. So we will look at that in the next video. If production is already at an efficient point, the only way to get more of one good is to give up some of the other. So let's say that we're starting at point A, where we're producing all robots and no pizzas. This is an efficient point. We're producing 10 robots. We're producing on the line. But let's say our economy decides we don't only want robots. We would also really like some pizza. So we want to move to point B. So point B, we get, maybe 1.5 pizzas. We say, yes, we would like that. The only way to do so, though, is by giving up some of our robots. Because we're already producing an efficient number, we're going to have to produce less robots in order to produce more pizzas. So anytime we're doing something efficient, we're going to have a trade-off of giving up one good for more of the other. We see in our production possibility curve that we have increasing opportunity costs. We talked about opportunity costs in chapter 1 as well. It's the foregone opportunity, or what you had to give up to get something. In this case, when we're talking about production, to get more of one good, we had to give up some of the other. In this example, we see that our curve is bowed outward, away from the origin on our graph. Being bowed outward shows that we have increasing opportunity costs, meaning the more smartphones we want, we have to give up more and more computers. In this example, we see a graph, this economy, maybe it is representing one company. They can produce tablet computers or smartphones. If they want to produce more smartphones, they have to give up computers. If they want to produce more computers, they have to give up some of their smartphones. We're going to see the law of increasing opportunity costs because the marginal opportunity costs are increasing. Partly because goods are not equally, or inputs are not equally usable for all types of production. Some resources are better suited for the production of one good over another. Now, in our last slide, when we're talking about robots and pizza, that seems a little bit obvious, right? If we have a can of tomato sauce, we have a block of cheese, it's not going to be super helpful for producing industrial robots. In this example, where we have tablet computers and smartphones, we can see there's probably a lot of crossover. There's a lot of probably similar components, similar knowledge from the workers to be able to assemble and manufacture both of these things. But not everything is going to be equally suited or perfectly suited for the other item. For instance, the size of the screen on a tablet computer is going to be a lot larger than the size of the screen on a smartphone. So you're going to need different molds, different cutting tools, right? Things to make larger and smaller screens. Starting at point A. And we have 100 tablet computers and 0 smartphones. And this company decides we want to produce some of both. So they say, let's shift some of our resources to producing smartphones. They're going to move to point B, which gives us 20 smartphones and 95 tablet computers. So what is our opportunity cost? Well, the opportunity cost is what you had to give up. So in this case, to get 20 smartphones, the opportunity cost was the 5 tablets that we had to give up. Let's say we want to produce more smartphones. We're going to go to point C. This gets us to 30. So now we're going to get 10 more phones from before. And our opportunity cost is that we're going from 95 to 90. So we still have an opportunity cost of 5 tablets. So you can see here that we have an increasing opportunity cost. Originally, we had to give up 5 tablets to get 20 phones. Now we have to give up 5 tablets to get 10 more phones. We'll see over here at points D and E, we also have an opportunity cost of 5 tablets. But now we're only getting 2 extra smartphones. So we would say this is the law of increasing opportunity costs. Right, our opportunity costs are going up. It used to be that it costs 5 tablets for 20 phones. Now 5 tablets only buys us 10 phones. By the end, 5 tablets only buys us 2 phones. And that's because some resources are just better suited for the production of one good over the other. While they do use a lot of similar components, everything for producing them is not identical. If we have an efficient level of production, we're producing somewhere on that line, it means that the economy is at full employment. Now, we haven't talked about full employment yet. We'll get to that later after we discuss GDP and types of unemployment. But basically, it means the economy is not in a recession. We're producing at our full capacity. The economy is producing along the way that we expected. We'll see later that full employment does not mean that everybody has a job, but it does mean that the economy is not in a recession. We can have an increase in our production possibility curve. This can shift out or shift to the right. So an increase in production capacity means that something has changed about our factors of production. We have more land, more labor, more capital, more entrepreneurs. Something has to increase for this to shift outward, shift to the right. So this represents economic growth. Our economy is growing. We can produce more stuff than we could before. This is going to occur when we have investment in factories and equipment. It could happen from population growth. It could happen from prior investment in knowledge and technology. So as we work on improving our economy, our production processes, we're going to be able to produce more stuff with the resources we have available. Economic growth means we're more productive. It could be that we're more productive per person or per hour. We've seen that historically. We can produce a lot more stuff now today per person than we could 100 years ago or 500 years ago. Things are improving. It can also mean that we have an increased productivity because we have more people working. We have more factories. We've just increased the amount of stuff we can make through sheer capacity of land, labor, and capital. So it could be that we're more productive per person, or we just have more resources available. Shifting the production possibility curve, shifting the PPF, means that we are investing in capital goods in our society. Capital goods include technology, tools, machinery, anything that's part of the production process. So when we invest in capital goods today, it means we're going to have a higher productive capacity in the future. On this graph, we've split the economy into two types of goods, capital goods and consumption goods. So a capital good is anything used in the production process. A consumption good is the final product, the end result, the things that we're consuming today. So a capital good might be the tractor that the farmer buys. The consumption good will be the corn that the farmer is growing that he then sells to consumers. The more resources we invest in capital goods today, the farther out that production possibility curve is going to shift in the future. So in this first graph here on the left, we see that we have a lower level of capital production and a higher level of consumption production. We're going to see this small shift outward of our production possibility curve because we are investing some of our resources in capital today. In the graph on the right, we've significantly increased our capital production. We've decreased some of our consumption, and now we get a very large shift in our production possibility curve in the future. So the more resources we devote today to improving our skills and knowledge, our technology, our manufacturing tools, the production process, the efficiency in which we use those natural resources, we'll be able to produce even more things in the future. So economic growth requires that we use some of our resources to produce capital goods today. The more resources going towards capital goods will shift the outward production possibility curve even farther. Today, by you being in this class, you're furthering your education, you're actually investing in a capital good. There's a trade-off. You had to give up some consumption goods today to use your time and resources for this class, to be in school. You're shifting out your own future production possibility curve with the hope that you're going to make more money in the future. Right? You're investing in some sort of capital good. This is going to make you more productive in the future and increase your income. This is the end of our video for production possibilities.